Welcome to the Brazos Valley MLS update, where it is my job to go over the real estate statistics from the previous month. The information covered is provided by the Bryan College Station MLS, the Texas Association of Realtors, and the Texas Real Estate Center. This information is general information for the entire 7-county area. So if you would like to know what this could mean for your unique situation, please feel free to click on the link in the description to schedule some one-on-one time with me. If you'd like to have your own copy of the presentation, click on the other link in the description. Lastly, if you would like to stay plugged into the latest real estate trends in our area, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel so you can be notified when the next update drops. With all of that said, let's get started. All right, folks, we're in the month of June, so we're taking a look at May of 2024, or at least the statistics for that. Starting with the average days on market, we're looking at the light blue line. For the month of May, we were at 103 as the average days on market. This is the number of days from when a property is listed until it actually closes, not until it's under contract. So typically this number will go down relative for the spring and the summer months, and then go back up during the fall and winter months as there are more purchases, more closed transactions during the spring and summer. And this trend is reflected here on this graph. Typically, if you see the number at or above 120 days, you can see that you're trending more into a buyer's market. But right now, I would say this would be an indication of a seller's market. Next, we're looking at units sold. Once again, following the light blue line at 397 closed transactions for the month of May, 300 relative to 344 for the previous month. And my suspicion is that we will continue to increase that number of closed transactions through June, maybe through July, but then it will drop off as we move into August and the following months. Next, we're looking at the new listings taken. As you can see, the peak for new listings taken typically happens before the peak for units sold transactions, for the units sold that we saw on the previous slide. And that's just because people typically will list their home at the beginning of the year so that it will at least sell during the spring and the summer months. So this last month in May, we were at 558 new listings, which is kind of interesting because it's higher than the number in April. Typically, the peak months are either March or April, and for May to be a peak month is relatively unusual, although the pandemic kind of threw some things off. So my suspicion is that it will continue to drop off as we head towards the end of the year. And then this slide is just for Bryan and College Station because they're the primary drivers for the Brazos County numbers. So if you see some difference in these numbers relative to the previous three slides, that's why. So our median price point is at $315,128, which is down 1.5% from last year. Active listings are up 64.4%. Number of days on market, 97. Total days on market, at least from from listing to contract is 61, and then days to close is on average about 36 days from that point forward. Price distribution, about where it usually is, with the lion's share between $200,000 and $400,000. This is for active listings, by the way. And there's just more properties that are within those price ranges than in the other price ranges, as you can imagine. Closed sales are up 7% relative to this time last year. Our months of inventory, 4.2 months, which is definitely up compared to 2.3 months of inventory this in May of 2023. And for those of you who've heard this before, you can fast forward, but this is the part where I kind of describe what I mean by months of inventory. And what this is a measure of how active a market is. It's a question of how many months would it take if we were to sell just as many properties, close just as many properties as we did in May. How many times would we need to do that? How many months will we need to go through that without adding any new inventory to deplete our inventory? And the answer is 4.2 months. So that's how we come up with that number. If it's at or above 6 months, that would be another indication that we're moving into a buyer's market. But as it is significantly lower than that number right now, that's another indication that we're actually still in a seller's market. Last but not least is my, I guess, feeble attempt to try to predict what's going to happen in the market ahead. What I do is I measure or look at the number of properties that went under contract in the last week as a percentage of the total active listings to determine how much of our market goes under contract each week. Typically, when a property does go under contract, there's a greater than 50% chance it's going to close. So I think this is a pretty good indicator for where we're headed. So we had this last week 104 new pending listings. In other words, under contract listings that during that week, out of 1,368 active listings. So 7.6% of our market, 7.6% of our inventory came off the market during that 1 week. And it is an indication of an active market, although not as active as it's been during the pandemic. And that's when I started measuring this. So that's why that number seems so low on this chart as you're watching the line graph here. It's just because I started measuring this during the pandemic. All right, that is it. Hopefully this has been helpful, but please feel free to reach out if you have any questions about what this might mean for you and your individual real estate situation with all the nuances I'm sure that everybody has. You can click on the link below to schedule some one-on-one time with me. Otherwise, just a friendly reminder to like and subscribe to the channel. Appreciate you watching and talk to you next time.